Think about your most cherished Thanksgiving memories. Was it the turkey, golden and glistening on the table? The sound of laughter echoing through a room filled with family and friends? Or was it that one dish, a dish so nostalgic, so deeply rooted in tradition that just the sight of it made you feel at home? In this nostalgic journey, we're diving into the dishes that defined Thanksgiving in the 1970s, a time when recipes were quirky, creative, and unapologetically comforting. From sweet and sour meatballs to corn pudding, these retro classics weren't just food. They were icons of an era, symbols of togetherness, and, most importantly, memories served on a platter. So grab a seat, and let's uncover the delicious stories behind these Thanksgiving favorites. Who knows? You might just discover a dish worth reviving at your next holiday feast. Corn pudding, the sweet sidekick that stole the show. Corn pudding might not be the first dish to come to mind at Thanksgiving, but in the 1970s, it held a special place on holiday tables. This golden custard-like casserole was the unsung hero of the feast, a comforting mix of sweet and savory that balanced out the richness of turkey and gravy. Picture this: a warm, tender dish with a subtle sweetness that feels like a cozy embrace in every bite. Corn pudding's roots run deep in American history, tracing back to Native American culinary traditions. Over time, it found a permanent home in Southern kitchens, where it was refined and cherished. By the 1970s, it had become a nationwide favorite, offering a nostalgic nod to the past while delighting modern palates. One of the reasons corn pudding was so beloved was its versatility. It could be made ahead of time, freeing up oven space for the turkey. And its ingredients were simple and accessible: corn, eggs, milk, and a touch of sugar. But what really made it stand out was how customizable it was. Families across the country had their own spin, adding cheese for a savory twist, jalapenos for a bit of heat, or even crumbled bacon for a smoky, indulgent flavor. Whether it came fresh from the oven with a golden crust or was served slightly cooled, corn pudding had a way of stealing the spotlight. Guests would inevitably go back for seconds, and sometimes thirds, singing its praises as the perfect complement to the meal. But it wasn't just its flavor that made corn pudding special. It was its ability to spark a sense of togetherness. Sitting around the table, passing heaping spoonfuls of this simple yet delightful dish, families created memories that lasted long after the last bite was gone. So, if you're looking for a way to bring a touch of 1970s charm to your Thanksgiving table, corn pudding is a must. It's more than just a side dish. It's a slice of holiday tradition, as warm and welcoming as the season itself. Trust me, it's one recipe you'll want to keep on repeat for years to come. Green bean casserole, the star that nearly stole Thanksgiving. Green bean casserole isn't just a side dish. It's a symbol of Thanksgiving nostalgia, loved for its creamy, crunchy, and utterly comforting combination of flavors and textures. If there's one dish that truly embodies the culinary trends of the 1970s, it's this timeless classic. First created in 1955 by a Campbell's Soup home economist named Dorcas Riley, green bean casserole was designed to be simple, affordable, and made with pantry staples like canned green beans, cream of mushroom soup, and crispy fried onions. But by the 1970s, it had transformed from a marketing recipe to a holiday essential. No Thanksgiving spread was complete without its signature golden topping of fried onions and its irresistibly creamy interior. What makes this dish so magical? It's the perfect marriage of textures and flavors. The crispness of the onions plays against the tender green beans, all enveloped in a luscious, savory mushroom sauce. It's hearty, satisfying, and somehow makes vegetables feel indulgent. It's the kind of dish that even the pickiest eaters at the table can't resist. Beyond its taste, green bean casserole carries with it a sense of tradition. Families would argue over whether to use fresh or canned green beans, whether to make the mushroom sauce from scratch or stick to the classic Campbell's version, and how thick that layer of fried onions should really be. But no matter how it was made, one thing was certain: this dish would be devoured. with guests scooping out seconds and scraping the edges of the casserole dish for the last bits of creamy, crispy goodness. So, if you're looking for a dish that embodies comfort, nostalgia, and the spirit of Thanksgiving, green bean casserole is the way to go. With every bite, you're not just tasting a delicious dish, you're reliving decades of holiday gatherings and culinary tradition. Shrimp cocktail, glam in a glass. Picture this, a tall, elegant glass with plump shrimp arranged like jewels around the rim, accompanied by a fiery red cocktail sauce just daring you to dip. Shrimp cocktails were the statement appetizer of the 1970s. They weren't just food, they were a declaration of style. Back then, serving shrimp at home was a big deal, a way to say, we're fancy, even if the furniture says otherwise. That zesty cocktail sauce, packed with just the right amount of horseradish heat, made every bite feel like a celebration. And the best part? Shrimp cocktails could be prepared ahead of time, making them perfect for hosts who wanted to impress without stress. Fast forward to today, and this retro appetizer still has the power to elevate any gathering. Serve it at your Thanksgiving dinner, and watch as your guests go wild for a taste of seafood sophistication. Turkey gravy with giblets, a hug for your plate. Gravy is more than a sauce. It's the glue that holds Thanksgiving together. But we're not just talking any gravy here. Turkey gravy with giblets was the unsung hero of 1970s holiday meals. Sure, giblets, the heart, liver, and gizzard, might sound a little out there, but they were the secret to that rich, deeply flavorful gravy. In an era before nose-to-tail cooking became trendy, the 70s embraced the idea of using every part of the turkey. Combined with drippings and stock, these often overlooked bits created a velvety gravy that could transform even the driest turkey into a succulent masterpiece. And it didn't stop there. Mashed potatoes, stuffing, rolls, everything tasted better with a generous pour of gravy. It's comfort food at its finest, a warm hug for your plate and your soul. Deviled eggs with paprika, bite-sized bliss. Who says eggs can't be elegant? In the 1970s, deviled eggs weren't just appetizers, they were works of art. Each creamy, paprika-dusted bite was a tiny explosion of flavor, perfectly sized for mingling guests. Making deviled eggs was part ritual, part competition. Families argued over the perfect filling recipe. Should it include pickle relish, a dash of mustard, maybe a splash of hot sauce? No matter the variation, these little delights always disappeared in record time, and let's not forget their versatility. They could grace a casual backyard barbecue or a formal Thanksgiving dinner with equal flair. Today, they remain a timeless favorite, proving that sometimes the simplest dishes are the ones that leave the biggest impression. Sweet and sour meatballs, tiny orbs of joy. Sweet and sour meatballs were the life of any 1970s party, and Thanksgiving was no exception. These bite-sized delights, skewered on toothpicks, combined savory ground beef with a tangy sweet sauce that had everyone coming back for seconds and thirds. The sauce was the real star here, a surprising blend of grape jelly and chili sauce that created a flavor profile unlike anything else. It was quirky, it was delicious, and it was oh so 1970s. These meatballs weren't just appetizers, they were conversation starters. Guests couldn't help but wonder, what's in that sauce? Spoiler, it was magic in a bowl. If you want to add a little retro flair to your holiday spread, these meatballs are a must. Waldorf Salad, a touch of sophistication. Waldorf Salad brought a touch of class to the 1970s Thanksgiving table. With its crisp apples, juicy grapes, crunchy walnuts, and creamy dressing, it was a refreshing counterpoint to heavier dishes. This dish has a history as rich as its flavors. Born at the Waldorf Astoria Hotel in the late 1800s, it became a symbol of elegance that carried into the 20th century. By the 1970s, it had found its way into family gatherings, adding a bit of sophistication to even the most casual meals. Today, Waldorf Salad is a reminder that sometimes the simplest combinations can be the most memorable. Serve it at your next Thanksgiving, and watch as it adds a little sparkle to your spread. Cheese balls, rolling in nostalgia. Ah, the cheese ball, a true icon of 1970s entertaining. Imagine a sphere of luscious, creamy cheese rolled in herbs, nuts, or even crushed crackers. Pair it with an assortment of crackers, and you had a dish that was as fun as it was delicious. Cheese balls were the life of the party, inviting guests to gather around, dig in, and enjoy. They were also a canvas for creativity. Some hosts would mix in everything from dried fruit to spicy jalapenos, creating unique flavor combinations that reflected their personality. This dish was more than an appetizer. It was a conversation starter, a centerpiece, and a little slice of culinary joy. So if you're looking to bring a touch of retro charm to your Thanksgiving, don't skip the cheese ball. Trust me, it's a crowd pleaser. Stuffed celery with pimento cheese. A crunchy classic, stuffed celery with pimento cheese was a staple of 1970s Thanksgiving tables, and for good reason. This dish was the perfect combination of creamy and crunchy, with a hint of tangy cheese to tie it all together. Pimento cheese, often called the caviar of the South, was the star here. Spread generously into crisp celery sticks, it became an appetizer that was as easy to make as it was satisfying to eat. And let's not forget its versatility. It worked just as well as a light snack before dinner as it did as a side dish alongside the main course. For busy hosts juggling multiple dishes, stuffed celery was a lifesaver, a nostalgic nod to simpler times that still felt just a little bit fancy. From shrimp cocktails to sweet and sour meatballs, these retro dishes are more than just recipes. They're a time machine to Thanksgiving dinners of decades past. They remind us of the joy of gathering, the warmth of tradition, and the creativity of home cooks who made magic with the simplest ingredients. Thank you for watching, and as always, see you on the next one.